Anything that has to do with technology creating opportunity for us, I find very enjoyable.
And she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Tensions are boiling over at Disney as the controversy surrounding the Snow White remake intensifies. Even CEO Bob Iger is reportedly feeling the heat, with insiders revealing growing frustration among the studio's top executives. The chaos stems from what many now believe to be two major blunders: the dramatic overhaul of the beloved classic to align with modern DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and the casting of Rachel Ziegler in the iconic lead role. The marketing strategy for the film has generated considerable discussion. Ziegler's public statements about reimagining Snow White as a girl boss who doesn't need rescuing have sparked debate about the balance between modernization and respecting classic storytelling. This approach represents a significant departure from the original narrative.
It's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess.
Raising questions about whether the adaptation has strayed too far from what made the story beloved in the first place. The original 1937 animated film portrayed Snow White as a girl with a melodious voice and gentle demeanor, whose character created a perfect balance with the more rough-hewn personalities of the seven dwarfs. The delicate balance between characters was a cornerstone of the original story's charm, but the remake seems to be heading in an entirely different direction. One of the most contentious changes involves the prince's role. Rachel Ziegler's comments in interviews suggesting the prince might be cut for being a stalker have left fans deeply concerned. This decision marks a dramatic departure from the story's romantic roots and has sparked heated debates about how modern reinterpretations can alter the essence of classic fairy tales.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Adding to the controversy is the film's visual effects strategy. The extensive use of CGI, especially in reimagining the Seven Dwarfs, has ignited questions about whether the film even qualifies as live action. The transformation of these beloved characters into CGI creations has left many wondering if this choice sacrifices authenticity for spectacle. The shift to CGI for these beloved characters has sparked fears of losing the human element that made the original so captivating. The practical challenges of extensive CGI have also proven difficult to navigate. Actors, including Rachel Ziegler, are forced to perform against green screens and tennis balls instead of interacting with real co-stars, which risks undermining the natural chemistry and emotional depth of their performances. Compounding these challenges are Ziegler's outspoken public statements and social media activity. Her controversial political remarks, including targeted messages toward specific groups, have created additional headaches for Disney's marketing team, stirring debates that extend far beyond the film itself. This professional setback marks a stark turning point for Rachel Ziegler, once heralded as a rising star in Hollywood. Disney's challenge in modernizing Snow White, while appealing to its traditional fanbase, has proven to be an uphill battle. The studio's push to weave contemporary themes and messaging into the story has sparked backlash from fans who hold the original dear for its subtle moral lessons and enchanting fairy tale appeal. The sweeping changes to the story's themes and character dynamics have only deepened concerns about the adaptation's faithfulness to its roots. While the 1937 classic was celebrated for its layered exploration of personal growth and heartfelt relationships, critics have labeled the remake's focus on overt empowerment messages as overly heavy-handed, potentially overshadowing the timeless charm that made the original a cultural treasure. The marketing challenges for Disney go far beyond the film's content. The studio faces the daunting task of promoting a movie that appears to challenge the very qualities that made its predecessor a cherished classic. This has created an unusual dilemma, where the promotional efforts risk alienating potential viewers instead of drawing them in. This controversy highlights a broader Hollywood trend of reimagining classic stories. The key challenge lies in striking a balance between modern relevance and preserving the timeless elements that made these tales endure for generations. Snow White's original symbolism only deepens the complexity of this debate. As storytelling expert Jonathan points out, the original Snow White wasn't merely a story about a princess waiting to be saved, it was a layered coming-of-age narrative, delving into themes of personal growth and relationship dynamics. The original characters carried deep symbolic significance, each serving a purpose that enriched the story's emotional and moral depth. The seven dwarfs in the original Snow White symbolize different facets of masculine energy, supportive, yet ultimately unsuitable as romantic partners for her. Meanwhile, the prince wasn't merely a rescuer. He represented the ideal partner, someone who had reached the same level of personal growth and character as Snow White. This sophisticated layer of storytelling seems to have been stripped away in the modern reinterpretation. The remake's heavy focus on overt feminist messaging risks overshadowing the original's subtle yet powerful message of empowerment. The classic tale conveyed that women should never settle for partners who don't match their worth, a profound lesson that didn't need to be spelled out to resonate. Production values further highlight the contrast. The 1937 film, with its groundbreaking animation, was created on what was then a staggering $1.5 million budget. Its innovative craftsmanship contributed significantly to the story's enduring charm, something fans fear may be lost in the CGI-heavy modern version. The new version's massive budget and heavy reliance on CGI raise serious questions about how technology is reshaping storytelling. Another point of concern is the film's length. The original's crisp 83-minute runtime ensured tight, efficient storytelling without unnecessary filler. But now, with reports suggesting the remake could stretch over 2 hours, fans are worried about pacing and narrative flow. The CGI transformation of the beloved characters, especially the 7 dwarfs, has raised eyebrows. In the original, each dwarf had its own distinct personality, but the new CGI versions seem to lack the warmth and charm that made them so endearing. This shift in how stories are told highlights a larger trend in Hollywood's remake culture, where technology often takes center stage over the timeless appeal of well-crafted, emotionally resonant characters. Disney's decision to prioritize contemporary social messaging over the traditional narrative elements of Snow White is a bold and risky move for one of their most beloved properties. This strategy has ignited debates about striking the right balance between modernizing stories and preserving the classic magic that made them iconic. On the technical side, the film's approach also presents significant challenges. While the original Snow White was groundbreaking for its hand-drawn animation, the new version's heavy reliance on CGI has drawn criticism for creating a visually stunning yet emotionally detached experience. The human connection that made the original so captivating feels notably absent in this modern rendition. The expansion from the original's efficient 83-minute runtime to over 2 hours has raised alarm bells about narrative bloat. Many critics argue this added length seems to serve more as a vehicle for extra messaging than for enriching the core story. This shift reflects a broader trend in modern filmmaking, where longer runtimes don't always lead to more profound or meaningful storytelling. The way character development is handled has become a major point of debate. In the original, Snow White demonstrated strength through kindness and resilience, but the new version's more aggressive take on female empowerment has raised concerns. Critics argue that this shift might overlook the quiet, subtle power that made the original character so compelling. The approach to the dwarfs has especially highlighted the challenges of modernizing classic elements. Replacing their distinct personalities with CGI versions has been viewed as a symptom of a larger issue, the preference for visual spectacle over character depth. Industry experts suggest that this remake could be a turning point for Disney's live-action remake strategy. How audiences respond to this version of Snow White could shape the studio's approach to future adaptations of their classic films. The financial consequences of these creative choices are significant. Disney's hefty investment in CGI and production values, while visually impressive, might not be enough to guarantee the audience connection they're hoping for. The stark contrast between the original's modest budget and its groundbreaking impact versus the new version's colossal investment raises serious questions about the link between spending and effective storytelling. As the release date draws closer, Disney's marketing challenges only seem to intensify. The studio now faces the daunting task of promoting a film that appears to challenge the very elements that made the original a fan favorite. Every new promotional push seems to spark even more controversy rather than generating the excitement Disney hoped for. This growing tension signals deeper implications for Disney's broader strategy with their classic properties. Traditionally, the studio has updated fairy tales for modern audiences while retaining their core charm. But with Snow White, this approach seems to be reaching its breaking point, potentially alienating loyal fans. Adding to the complexity is the role of social media in shaping public opinion. Unlike when the original was released, instant feedback and viral criticism now have the power to affect a film's success long before it even hits theaters. This new dynamic has made it even harder for Disney to control the narrative surrounding the project. The growing controversy has sparked widespread discussions about the future of Disney's live-action adaptations. Industry experts warn that how audiences respond to Snow White could significantly shape the studio's approach to similar projects moving forward. This may even prompt a reevaluation of their entire remake strategy. The situation reflects broader challenges within the entertainment industry as studios struggle to modernize classic stories for today's audiences. Striking the right balance between respecting the original material and introducing contemporary values has proven to be more difficult than ever. The potential long-term impact on Disney's brand is another pressing concern. What began as the challenges of a single project has now evolved into a pivotal moment for the studio's approach to its beloved classic properties. This situation could reshape how Disney approaches its entire catalog of animated classics in the future. The cultural ramifications go far beyond just this one film. The debate surrounding Snow White mirrors larger discussions about how traditional stories should be adapted for modern audiences. The real challenge is finding ways to keep these tales relevant without losing the qualities that made them timeless in the first place. The reported reliance on CGI instead of practical effects marks another shift away from Disney's traditional strengths. While the original Snow White set groundbreaking standards for animation, there are growing concerns that the heavy use of digital effects in the new version might create a disconnect between the audience and the story's emotional heart. The contrast between the original's sharp, focused storytelling and the remake's expanded runtime and additional elements has become a major point of criticism. Industry experts argue that longer runtimes don't always lead to richer storytelling. In fact, they may dilute the emotional impact of the core narrative. And make sure to subscribe for more on the latest celebrity news and all the behind-the-scenes drama. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.